Hello and welcome to our project management video series. I should say I am planning for this video or the series of video that I'm going to share with you throughout the year for last 1 year, and my target was actually to help you understand the future of project management, and I should say the future of you as a project manager. Generally, when I talk about project management value or the future of project management, everybody understands it. It is still vivid in my mind back in 2004 when I first talked about the project management value in Pakistan, and then in some areas people says we don't need project management. So I would say last 10-15 years my struggle was that people should understand the value of project management and adopt it. But now, and especially from 2020 and onward, my struggle is not that people adopt project management. Now people know project management. Now people are using project management. Now people are doing project management. But the problem is they are unable to understand the true value of project management and how they can use project management for their betterment or the betterment for the organization. So that's why I decided that I should start this year the first video of my project management series with the concept of future of project management. When we talk about project management, in fact when PMI talks about project management, and they anticipated that till 2017 X number of project managers will be required, and the number was surpassed. So their forecast, which they forecasted like in 2010 or 2011 about 2017, that say X number of million project managers will be required, that X was actually increased by 2X or maybe 3X. So this is how the whole market is going. So if we look at the future in terms of numbers, if we look at the future in terms of the job requirements, the new forecast of PMI is till 2027, the role of project management or the people who will be doing project management jobs will be at a level of 87.7 million. So technically we need 87.7 million project managers. And you know what? How many certified PMPs we have right now from PMI perspective? 1 million. Can you see the gap? Right now we have 1 million certified PMPs or project managers. And how many project managers we need in next 7-8 years? 87.7 million. Okay, then people will say, sir, okay, world needs 87.7 million project managers, but do they all need to be PMP certified, or do they all need the certified project managers? The point is, and this is the actual reason of this video, the point is, yes, we need certified project managers because the respect or the acceptance of market is that you should have some credentials. Okay, not PMP but something else. Maybe you can go for Prince 2, or maybe you can go for some other credential, but you must have a credential which shows that you have knowledge and you have experience of managing the projects. So for which one is the biggest name? Who is the biggest player in project management market? Of course, it is PMI. Rest are trying to get some value out of it, but still they are far behind. So we need 87.7 million project managers. We have 1 million certified project managers. Why we need certified project managers? This is another important question. Because the difference of non-certified project manager salary versus certified project manager salary is around 30%. So let's suppose if you are earning say $100,000 per annum, so as a non-certified project manager, so with certified project management credential as a certified project manager, you are going to earn $130,000 per year. So it's a big number, right? Okay. So this is all about the market value. But the problem right now we are facing is rather than growing in a unified way and rather than focusing project management as a profession, what we are trying to do is we are slicing it, and I'm saying it with very heavy heart that right now we are not saying we are project managers. We are saying, hello, I am Agile project manager. Hello, I am traditional project manager. Or we can say, hello, I am Scrum certified project manager. Or I am SAFe certified project manager. Or I am disciplined certified project manager. No. I must say no. Please don't. You are a project manager. Either it's a Agile project or it's a traditional project. Project is a project, right? The project management needs, yes, it may vary, but as a project manager, your job is to understand that need and deliver the project based on that need. But if you are not understanding that need and you are not understanding the value of project management, then technically you are missing the biggest part. One of the key findings that I understand and observe is in project management field, the biggest missing element, and I'm saying it again, in project management field, the biggest missing element is project management. Because when we talk about the project management, we never keep project management phase in our project plans. I have reviewed and coached more than 1,000 projects. I have seen more than 1,000 project plans, but only 5%. So the number is only 5% project plans have project management phase. The rest of the 95% project plans that have seen from different industries, they don't have project management phase. So if we don't know the value of project management, if we don't understand project management, so maybe we are certified, but we are ratified, we may be PMBOK ratified project managers, but we are not the true project managers. So in this video, first of all, I'm going to discuss the dilemma, discuss the market issue of project management. And in this, there are somehow PMI is also responsible, not all, but somehow they are responsible of the overall, I can say, chaos and the mess. Why? Because you see, if we look at the project management perspective, if we look at how PMI was, not now, to be very honest, not now, but previously, how PMI was promoting their project management. PMI was saying that if you understand PMBOK. So right now we have 6th edition of PMBOK, and we talk about PMBOK was launched in 96, then 2000, then 2004, then 2008, then 2012, then 2017, actually not 16, but it's okay. In all these years, we are fighting about 5 process groups, 9 knowledge areas, and then 10 knowledge areas, and somehow number of processes. So we started with 32 processes, and we are right now with 49 processes. It's all about stupidity that we're talking about. How many processes we had in previous edition, how many processes we have right now, how many tools and techniques we are going to discuss, what are the inputs and output, and this mess actually blocks our mind, and it forces us to rectify all the input, tool techniques and output, which is actually, by the way, around more than 500. So how can you remember all these 400, 500 input, tool techniques and output? But what the premises, and I would say what the trainers are teaching you, guiding you, that if anyone, so let's suppose anyone, me, you, Waze, Fahim, anyone else, if you can understand PMI, PMBOK processes, which based on 2017 49, processes and all their input and output and tool technique, you can actually manage any project. So this is actually a depiction of a calendar. So why I make calendar? Because the definition, the very definition of project is temporary. So what we are saying, what PMI is selling, what we are selling is, if anyone can understand project management tool techniques, they can actually deliver any project. So what we are discussing any project manager, any project, but we have only one project management. This is where the problem is. This is where, lots of other people who are unable to capture their market, who are unable to promote themselves in PMI, they come up with some number of articles, research papers that PMI is flawed. Even though, some of the European researchers says the definition of project is flawed. They said in project definition, we have project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product and service. And they say this unique word is not right. Projects are not unique. So, we can talk in length about what is unique and what is not unique. The point is, when we talk about project management, we are not understanding the project. We are not understanding the person who is managing the project. What we are understanding is this tool, this technique, this processes, and it is actually making us paralyzed. This is not helping us to move on. So one of the key argument against PMI, one of the key criticism against PMI was, you're talking about project. You said any project. So if you're talking about strategic project, if you're talking about operational project, if you're talking about regulatory project, so do you think all projects will be managed by this PMBOK? Till 2017, PMI did not mention specifically, although the concept was there that yes, you can manage any kind of project, but you need to tailor, you need to adopt project lifecycle, number of processes, input, tool technique and output. But this was not mentioned in PMBOK since 1996. It was the first time that PMI mentioned this point in 2017 PMBOK, that you need to tailor, you need to understand or identify the project lifecycle, you need to identify the processes, you need to identify the inputs, tool techniques and outputs based on your project need. So the criticism was, they used to say that project is a project syndrome, that PMI is actually pushing all towards this syndrome of a project is a project, and we are not understanding what actually the project is. What we are selling is project management. But now PMI is saying that no, we need to understand project first. We need to understand what we are going to deliver out of this project. And the biggest issue with the PMI concept that people used to say was that PMI is making us think in a pigeonhole. They are basically bounding us to think in the context of within scope, within time and within cost. So there are lots of articles, I think I read more than a dozen of articles where they criticize the concept of project management from the perspective of managing projects within triple constraints, or you can call it iron triangle, or whatever name you want to talk about it. But the point is, they say project is beyond triple constraint. Project needs to understand the environment. Project needs to understand the context of the project value. But this was, to be very honest, was missing from the literature of PMBOK. Right now, if interesting fact is, if you go and read PMBOK 2012, there is a heading in chapter number 2 which says project success. So in PMBOK 2012, the success of project was defined that it is basically based on achievement of project within time, cost and scope. But if now in PMBOK 2017, you go and see the heading of project success measures, PMI is going to tell you that traditionally the success of project was measured against the completion of project within time, cost and scope. But based on the some researchers and the scholars and practitioners, we need to see stakeholder requirement. So now this one area changes the whole concept of project management. Now what they are saying is, please do not box yourself into the cage of triple constraints, into the cage of scope, time and cost. Think beyond scope, and that beyond is your outcome, your benefit. But the point is, are you responsible of delivering the outcome? This is still a debate. Here PMI is still figuring out, I should say, that how to cater these things into the concept of project, because when we talk about project, it's all about output, it's all about the scope. But here I say, whenever you are going to deliver a project, you should see the outcome and deliver the output. So this is how the whole thing works. So first of all, this PMBOK is good, but you are not going to implement whole concepts, whole 49 processes, all input to like in every project. As a project manager, your job is to select, identify how many processes, which project life cycle, which input, which tool technique, which output actually is required to manage the project. And when I talk to project management companies, those who are doing project management, when I talk to people who are into PMOs, who are working in project management departments, and my question is, how you define, how you select that which project management artifacts you need in your project, which project management life cycle you are going to follow. And answer is, we are following initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, controlling and closing. And I said it numerous times, please, for God's sake, initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, controlling and closing, these are not, and I'm saying it again, these are not project life cycle phases. These are process groups. And this is the issue. I should say 70% of certified project managers, they don't know this thing. And I should say 60 to 70% of trainers who are teaching project management, they are teaching it wrong. They are actually selling initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, controlling, closing process as project phases, which is actually a shameful thing. I can't say beyond that thing. But here, so as a project manager, what you need to understand is, what is your project? In which environment you are going to run the project? What are the outcome of the project? And then you drive the value of project from this project. The third important aspect is what PMI and the rest of the people are saying. Anyone. So let's suppose if I'm aggressive, if I want to do things in a quick manner. If I am managing a project, do you think my personality suits for research projects? Do you think I can manage a project where we have high uncertainty? No. So what I need to do? I need to change my personality, or I should say, I need to adopt my personality based on the project need. I need to learn the skills, I need to learn the competencies which are required to manage the project within a specific environment. And what is, we are not learning this. Even though I think back in 2007 or 8, PMI did a research study, and what they said is, in the context of project manager, again, in the context of project manager, we need to see what kind of project we are doing and what type of personality we have. So basically the research was selecting project managers based on their personality type and project type. So technically, if you look at the tool personalities, if we comprehend from the leadership perspective, we have two types of personality. Ones are transactional personalities, and the other one is transformational personalities. So technically, we have two types of leaders. We have two types of personalities who are leading the projects, transactional and transformational. And then the second part is the project. So when we talk about the project, one of the main researcher who actually slaps, I should say, PMI by writing a book, and the book was Reinventing Project Management. So he wrote a book, Reinventing project management, and this book was published by Harvard Business Press. You see, Harvard Business Press is printing a book which is actually saying the PMBOK project management is not enough. The PMBOK project management is misleading. The PMBOK project management is actually focusing on project is a project syndrome. And they say you have to identify what kind of a project you are doing. Is your project is breakthrough project? Are you doing a platform project, or your project is a derivative project? What kind of a project you have? So rather than seeing project as a general project, you have to identify what kind of a project you have. But you know how PMI does all these things? PMI says our project management is sufficient for any type of project. Either you are doing derivative project, either you are doing platform project, either you are doing breakthrough project. If you want to know the details of these things, you can actually go and see from the perspective of reinventing project management, right? But the biggest hit where PMI was unable to duck itself was project management itself. Till now, PMI was not talking about project. PMI was not talking about project management, a project manager. PMI was only and only talking about this piece, project management. And whenever some researchers criticize about project and project manager, they gave up some research studies like you have to adopt the personality, you have to build the competencies, you have to work on the capabilities and do it, or you have to select what kind of project management tool, technique, processes you need for your project. But now comes a new researchers and they say, hold on PMI, the PMBOK, the very dearest PMBOK that you are selling to us is actually focusing on traditional projects. You are talking about projects whose scope needs to be defined in advance. So basically the whole PMBOK, the whole PMI is focusing about the projects, or focusing those projects whose scope can be defined in advance. But what about those projects where we have lots of uncertainty? We know the overall outcome, we can anticipate the outcome, but the scope or the outputs will be evaluated, will be identified, will be tested, maybe within a lab or maybe with the clients. So what about Agile project management? And this is that PMBOK project management from PMI does not talk about Agile project management. And then PMI identified that yes, it is a big gap. And what they did is they did a research and they identified a new model, and they tried to go and come back with head-to-head with Scrum, because everybody was talking about Scrum. Said, okay, we have our own certification. Instead of going from Scrum Alliance or product owner or whatever things, come to us and we'll give you PMI Agile certified practitioner. But the point is, now what we are doing, we are saying, hello, I am a project manager, but I am a traditional project manager. Hello, I am a project manager, but I am an Agile project manager. Come on, what we are doing? Why we are, defining us in a box? We are a project manager. Doesn't matter the project needs the Agile project management technique or it needs the traditional management need. We need to see, we need to identify for that specific project what kind of project management we need. And now, what PMI is saying? PMI is saying from 1st July 2020. We are going to test you, and we are going to test your project management skills. And when you say project management skill, it does not mean traditional or Agile. If you are a project manager, it means you can manage both project managers. And maybe someone say, hey, sir, in Scrum we don't have project manager, but in Scrum you are confused with Scrum Master. And we say Scrum Master or Scrum Coach or Scrum Servant Leader, or at the end of the day, Scrum Project Manager. And all is messed up. No way. Brother, project manager is a project manager. Either you want him or her to manage a traditional project or an Agile project, or matter of fact, the hybrid project. So one of the key requirement of a project manager and the project management team is to identify the project management need of the project. So if you cannot identify the need of project management and you are blindfoldedly moving towards managing the project through the concept of, through the lens of one methodology, either be it PMI or be it SAFe or be it Scrum or be it Discipline Agile, and now we have a bunch of, we can say, Agile method practices, but they all are selling their methodology. They are not selling the solution. And who is actually responsible to provide the solution? It's you, my dear. It's you, the project manager, whose job is to understand the project and then work with the technical team, project management team, and other experts that what kind of methodology, what kind of project management we need in this project. When I go and talk about companies, how do you decide how much project management is required? They generally see me, why? What do you mean by how much project management? Project management is project management. Are you saying as such that how much project management means in some project we need to do less projects and in some project we need to do more projects? The answer is yes. Yes, my dear. In some projects you need to see what kind of project management you need and how much project management you want to do into it. If your project is, complex project which needs to interact with 4 or 5 different departments or maybe 3 or 4 different companies, the project management skill required for the project manager is different when you are doing a project with 4 or 5 team members in a closed environment for one project, or maybe for an agile project, maybe for a technical project. So managing a technical project needs a different set of skills versus managing the complex project or managing the political project. So all 3 aspects are projects. All 3 aspects needs project management, but where you need to focus, how you are going to manage it is different. Future is we need to see project management as one. We need to see that we have a project, and as a project manager, we need to adopt or change our personality, or we can say we need to adopt our competencies to deliver the project. And when we talk about project, we should start from the value of a project that project was going to give after the delivery, after the hands-off, after the transition. The biggest problem with the project managers is they don't see the project beyond transition. They don't see the project that how the organization, how the end user is using the project and getting the value out of the project. What they are seeing is what are their scope, how much time they want to complete their scope, how they can give the scope with less change requests, and this is where the problem is. So if world needs 87.7 million project managers, it means we are going towards the project economy. It says that we have a $20 trillion project economy in front of us. So are you going for $20 trillion economy by saying, hello, I am a traditional project manager? No, I am an agile project manager. Sorry, you have to embrace it. You have to embrace it that, hey, I'm a project manager. I can deliver the project, and I know what it means to be delivering the project by focusing on the outcome and delivering the output. This is we need to see. This is how we need to look into it. So for all those people who are actually thinking about the future of PMI, and they said that maybe after changing in PMP exam it's going to get less value. I think it's going to get more value. And yes, I doubt about the value of PMI ACP. I doubt about the value of Scrum Master or Product Owner, because for me, Scrum Master and Product Owner are not certification. You just attend 2-day course and after second day you got certified, or maybe you just need to go and give the paper at your home, and by saying that, hello, I gave in my exams by sitting in my home, by opening my books and seeing the answers, and then I'm done. This is not certification. You can say, yes, I have attended the course. The course is good. Scrum is not bad, but are you really certified? Do you have the real credential or not? You have credentials. And there are lots of people who have PMP. But I think the problem is they are PMPs, but they don't know how to implement project management in this environment. And for this purpose, what PMI has done it, PMI is actually saying that now we are not going to test you based on this area, based on initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, controlling, closing. Now what they're saying is, we are going to test how, as a project manager, you are going to lead the persons. So that's all about your leadership, personality. How you are going to manage the project in an environment by understanding its business and by understanding its strategy. And how you are going to implement the process of project manager. And that process be either traditional or agile or hybrid. So the future is for those who are saying, hey, I am project manager, I know what project is, I can tailor project management based on the project and organization needs, and more importantly, I can actually tailor myself. I can identify my personal strengths, I can identify my personal weaknesses, I can see how I need to adopt myself to change in a specific environment of the project where we are doing the project and the project management skills that we need to employ. If you can do this thing, you can claim yourself a global project manager. A project manager who doesn't care about industry, a project manager who doesn't care about the project type, but what he or she cares about is that what project management is and how I can tailor it for the need of the project and project organization. So that's all about the future of project management. So future is there, but are you ready? Are you as a project manager ready to take it and deliver it what is required? Thank you. So if you have any questions, I'm here to answer. So always, if you can give me the mobile phone, and I can see what are the questions. So one question we have that who in Middle East, as companies are approaching and they are selling their specific things, like in lots of banking industries, in couple of telecom industries, they are saying we need agile project managers, we need scrum masters. But when you go and see that what they are doing, they're not doing actually the scrum thing, they're not doing actually the agile thing. So what PMI is saying is right now that if you want to manage a project, seek project management, seek project manager who can tailor the needs of your project. So it's just not changing or hiring the specialist resource. It's all about how you are cultivating the culture of project management, be it agile or traditional. And I would say, as things are getting confused, there is still time when people will realize this fact, and then they will focus on one project management. Then who is responsible for the to sign the project charter? You see, Arsalan, basically charter is a document which authorizes the project, and whoever is basically giving the authority to the project manager, be it a sponsor, you can call it, be the department head, be the PMO head if the PMO is a portfolio PMO, or be it a CEO. So basically someone who wants these projects to be done from management perspective, he or she actually hires the signs the project charter. So we have some more questions. No, I registered for question. Okay, so I registered for PMP pilot. What should I do? Generally, what I was saying is, please don't register for the pilot project, because PMI is still testing that how they are going to give the marks and how people are going to respond in the test. And importantly, if the window is very small, like from within 10 to 15 days in your March, you have to go for the exam, and then your result will not be announced till end of May. So I would say don't go for it. But if you say registered for it, just go with an open mind and see how it comes, and be ready that you are going to fail in most of the cases, and doesn't matter. It's basically the exploration, because PMI is exploring, you are going to explore yourself. that how they are going to test your knowledge. But if you look at the course content, one of the key thing is most of the execution part, especially when you talk about acquire resources, develop resources, manage communication, manage stakeholder expectation. These are the areas which comes from this personal side of the project management. Then when it talks about processes, most of the planning aspects, most of the planning processes or some couple of initiation processes will be part of the process. And then when you talk about the area of business management, you focus on chapter number 1 and 2, where they talk about the project itself, the difference of project from program and portfolio, and more importantly, organization structures. Because when you talk about the need of project management, and when I teach project management, I say how much project management depends on 2 factors. One, project itself, what kind of project we have, or we can assess project from one of the framework, that is complexity assessment tool. Initially I go through with the concept of Harvey Miller, and then PMI also wrote a book called Navigating Project Complexity. So navigating project complexity helps you to understand a project, and then the project environment in which you are doing the project. So the project environment is the organization structure, organization strategy, and the organization culture, and formal and informal the system where you are going to run the project. So these are those factors where you will get the questions, and they are going to assess how you as a project manager assess the project and project environment, where you can identify the project management needs and deliver projects by leading the teams, by engaging the stakeholders, and by managing your personality in terms of achieving the results. So this is how you need to look at the concept of project management, and especially the new format of project. Okay, so Altaf has asked clarify some examples how much project management is needed. How much project management, as I said now, is based on 2 criteria. One criteria is project boundary, and the project boundary actually see project from the complexity factor. So let's suppose how many implementations you are going to do, how many people are involved in your project, what is the size of a project, what is the cost of a project, how many number of people are involved into it, how many departments involved into it, how many organizations involved into it. So this is one area. Then the second area is how much power is in play, how much politics is in play, what are the roles and responsibilities of multiple stakeholders in this project. So this is more of a socio-political angle. And then the third angle is emergent and uncertainty in terms of achieving the outcome and output. So you have to balance it and see where your project lies in this complexity assessment tool, and then set the project management needs. So generally when we do PMO setup, we define project sizing criteria. So if project is based on ABC criteria, based on its X number of costs, X number of resources, then you need to use this much project management. So this is one of the key things that you need to look into it. Then we don't have I believe more questions.
Actually, Sheikh, we have on your own profile by Mr. Rizwan.
Okay.
Please elaborate tailoring in project management.
See, tailoring, to be very honest, is all about based on project. So let's suppose, let me tell you one thing. Let's suppose I am being in charge of a project, and my project is to implement, or you can say construct a road from Karachi to Islamabad. Let's say Karachi to Islamabad is a 1800 kilometer motorway, and I have to upgrade the existing environment, say N5 and all, and upgrade the whole 1800 kilometer road. Then I have another project, and that project is basically from Kashgar to Gwadar, and let's say again 1800 kilometer motorway. So in both the cases I have motorways, size of the motorway is more or less same, 1800 kilometer. But on one side, the traffic is already there, and there are lots of cities who are actually using it. So it's basically transportation is also going on. And on the other hand, we have a project and we need to develop the, construct the motorway, but we don't have any population and it's all empty. But do you think, am I going to use the same project management skills for both the projects? And when I ask this question, everybody says, no, sir. For the case of Karachi to Islamabad motorway, the skills that I needed is different than the skills that I need to manage the project of Kashgar to Gwadar. So this is one of the aspects, and I said earlier again, you need to look into it from the perspective of complexity. So I'm going to give you two examples. Either you go and read the book of David Shinar, Reinventing Project Management, where he gave you a diamond model. It talks about novelty, technology, complexity, and pace. That how you are going to assess your project from these four measures and then decide how much project management is required, or you can use the complexity assessment tool, which is basically adopted by PMI, and they publish a book called Navigating Project Complexity. So based on either tools or maybe some other tool that you want to use, you identify the need of project management.
One more question.
Yeah, one other question. So can you just repeat what is the question?
Okay. It is from Syed Altaf Rizvi. My first question is missed. As you said in project management, you asked what is the outcome of project. I believe we do something for program management.
Yeah. See, the point is either you do a program or you do a project. Outcome is there. The point is who is managing the outcome. So let me just give you one example. If you understand this example, you can understand the context. Say, if you're managing a project, I can divide the whole timeline into three segments. First segment is we have either a problem or opportunity or some regulatory requirement. So based on these three broad needs, we can develop our business case, feasibility study, statement of work, maybe some contract, whatever. And then our management decides either we need to do the project or not. And we as a project manager manages the project and actually deliver the output. So here the transition is we are going to give the output and then someone else, our users, our customers, or maybe our internal department, they are going to run the operations of that project. The point is, when you as a project manager focusing on output, someone else, they're not focusing on output. They are actually focusing on outcome. So as a project manager, what PMI is saying is, you're not responsible to run the operations of a project. You're not responsible to run the operations of the project output. But when you are delivering, when you are designing the output, you should see how it will help them to achieve the outcome. And there is always a tension, because whenever you talk about change management, the customer or user always thinks from the perspective of outcome. And project manager and project team always think from the perspective of output. And this is where we have a clash. And this clash can be resolved by prioritizing a couple of items. But that's why I said, focus on outcome and deliver output. So that's how the whole thing works. So another question, if I have
just one more question which you have missed by Arsalan Khan. It was regarding the project charter templates.
Okay, so see, project charter template, I see a lot of companies who develop charter templates of 20 pages or 30 pages or 40 pages, but doesn't need it. What you need to do is, why we need a charter? Actually, we need a charter to announce that we have a project, and whoever is responsible to support the project, they should know, they should sign it off. And the second thing that we want to achieve from a charter is the announcement of a project manager. So technically, project charter is an appointment letter of a project manager. So don't go into a detailed 30-40 page in which you are going to write down the milestones or scope and everything. If your project is an output of business case or feasibility study or a statement of work of contract, why don't you just refer it back and go and look into it, right? Just identify the key areas and move on. And another important factor is, how many times you want to go back and see your charter? And why do you want to go back and see your charter? Because you need to define the criteria of success. You need to define what is said. That's it. But after that, you move on to requirement document or a scope statement document, another document. So go and review these things. So my recommendation is keep your charter as simple as it possible and use it as a authority letter, approval letter that we are going to do this project, whose success criteria must be this. That's it. Don't go beyond that. Anything else?
One last question. Hold on.
So Oasis is gonna read for me. What is the
Yes. Please clarify regarding the how much project management is needed. How can we identify the need of project
I have already explained this thing, that how we are going to identify the need of the project management, and you can schedule a time with me and we can further discuss into it based on your requirements, or maybe you can come to our training and understand how we are doing it. And what I'm going to say is, inshallah, in future, people will say, hey, he or she is a PMP and he or she is a AUC PMP. So basically, we are not here to give you the definition of definition. We are here to give you the meaning of the definition. So if you want to understand how project management concepts relate to your project, to your organization, come join us and see the difference. Thank you. Take care.